Hello, my name is Joel Dunning. I am a thoracic surgeon from Middlesbrough in the United Kingdom. So it's an interesting debate, robotic versus VATS. It's always quite difficult if you don't have access to a robot, because if you're a surgeon that doesn't have access to the robot, then really you have to do everything from VATS. But I'm very lucky to be able to have access to both. So I'm 100% convinced that robotic surgery is beautiful and far better in sleeve resections and extended resections. So they are absolutely a dream. So a sleeve resection, being able to suture the bronchus closed but robotically, is fantastic. Every time I tried to do it by VATS, it's terrible. So sleeves is absolute, and extended resections is your number one reason for doing robotic. And then it comes to, well, you need to be practiced enough so that when you come to these extended operations, you know you're good and able to do it. So that does mean you need to have a fairly good turnover of patients robotically so that you can then step up to these bigger cases. But for your standard operation, a standard lobectomy, my incisions are significantly smaller by VATS, and my operative time is still less by VATS. So if you actually say for a standard lobectomy, which is quicker and has smaller incisions, that probably is by VATS at the moment. But technology is always evolving. Well, strangely, you need more skills as a VATS surgeon, because it is more difficult to control a VATS instrument, because the simple dynamics are that when you move your hand left, the instrument goes right by VATS, but when you move your hand left with the robot, it goes left. So the robot is designed to make the life easier for you. That's why you spend £1.4 million on it, to make your life easier. So I think everybody would say with robotic, it's actually technically a lot easier, which is probably why you can do a lot more with it, and the learning curve is less. But that doesn't mean to say that if you don't train and practice a lot by VATS, then that will make you a very good VATS surgeon. It's just you have to practice more, train yourself more to get those skills. Microlobectomy is a slightly different take on a normal VATS lobectomy, and the reason I tried it is because I wanted to get rid of the large utility incision between the intercostal spaces. I thought I was doing a lovely job of getting the lobe dissected and divided and all the lymph nodes, and then I was having to make a big hole to get the lobe out. And then when I saw Zhang Lei doing a lovely job of the whole operation subxiphoid, I thought this must be the solution for getting the lobe out. But for a lot of Western patients, and certainly for myself, I'm not quite as technically good as him maybe, so I felt I needed a bit of extra help through the intercostal spaces. But I think if you keep down to 5 mil ports, then that benefits the patient. So the rules for microlobectomy are no incisions bigger than 5 millimeters through the intercostal spaces. Then you have a subxiphoid port for the 12 mil stapler and a subxiphoid port to get the sample out. And the benefits it has is that there's virtually no pain from your chest afterwards. And that, I think, is the real benefit. Now, it's not to say that any other VATS technique isn't just as good, because I don't think we can really split hairs between them. But from my point of view, it works very well for me. I like the fact that I can get the lobe out without making a big incision in the intercostal spaces, and I feel very comfortable because it's a 3-port VATS technique, really. Well, I think the future might be somehow robotic in the future. I think the moment I can put a single port robot through the subxiphoid incision means I won't need my three 5 millimeter ports anymore. So I'm sure the future might well be uniportal and subxiphoid uniportal is my thoughts. And Intuitive had a single port system. There may be others coming along as well. There's something called Titan, and who knows what will be discovered in the future. So I think all VATS techniques are an evolution. Diego's not doing the same thing he did 5 years. He's refined, he uses less instruments. He's even done, with Marian Zielinski, he's done a neck-only uniportal VATS, and Marian Zielinski's done 16 of those. And so there's lots of different techniques around. We're all evolving. And so that's the exciting thing about thoracics. Who knows what we'll be talking about in 5 years' time? Well, the really nice thing about CTSNet is it's just a community of thoracic and cardiac and vascular surgeons. So we're owned by our 3 major societies. I'm not paid a penny to join in and make videos, and neither is anybody else really, apart from the office has got a few people. So the really great advantage of it is thoracic and cardiac surgeons just teaching each other and sharing with each other what we find is interesting. The commercial assistance is kept to a minimum and we have complete control. So it's really great because it's a real community feel. So when we ask people to submit videos, they do willingly and gladly because they know they get great feedback from other people. And then today at this conference and yesterday, we're very excited to do the very first live webcasting of a conference, and over 4,500 people came and watched this conference live on CTSNet, and I really think that's going to be the future of conferences. Some people will come here so that you can talk afterwards to the great names, but other people who can't travel will just watch it online, and people are submitting questions, and it's great. It's a really exciting future for the internet, and I'm sure AME journals would be brilliant to come in. We could post up the articles and journals live at the same time, provide web links, and I know you've created a journal to go with this conference, and that again is a brilliant pair up. So we're again melding the boundaries between journals, conferences and the internet all together. This is a great example today. And so somebody asked me the question about busyness. Someone said, what do you have as a hobby? And I stopped and I went, oh no, what a saddo. I think my hobbies are doing videos. That's pretty pathetic, isn't it? But and I think in another sense, if your job can be a little bit your hobby as well, if you love your job and you enjoy it and you love talking to other surgeons about gadgets and gizmos, then maybe that's not such a bad hobby after all.